Hello everyone. Now today I've got another toy review video from ERTL's licensed toy ranges. This time I've got Looney Tunes, and what I'm going to be doing today is reviewing the ERTL Looney Tunes train that features Bugs Bunny in locomotive, Foghorn Leghorn in coal car, and Sylvester and Tweety in caboose. Now this was ERTL did release this as a free pack back in the 1980s. Along with many other Looney Tunes vehicles, and there are also some train sections as well with other Looney Tunes characters as seen on the back of the packaging. So there's also Yosmite Sam in tanker car, Daffy Duck in passenger car, and Elmer Fudd in box car. Now I did look for these on eBay as well, but apart from the ones being sold in America, I couldn't really find any that are being sold in the UK in their original packaging, so I didn't bother buying those ones, but it shows you all the characters that you can get on the Looney Tunes train. Now, this is pretty much the only other range that I'm aware of where ERTL did make trains. Of course, this is a little bit more advanced than the ERTL Thomas and Friends range in terms of the material that they used, probably because of it being very small, and of course the couplings are a little bit different as well. I mean, it's hook and eye, but the eye couplings on the Looney Tunes trains are not gapped. And later, what I'll do is I'll show you if they are compatible with the ERTL Thomas engines or not. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and open the packaging just so to give you to show you a better view of it, and so I can review these more easily. So anywhere in the booster where I can actually help. This bit is easier to open. I mean, parts of the plastic have cracked on this over time, and when I bought this one, as you can see, you've got all the Looney Tunes characters on there, because you got Bugs Bunny, Sylvester, the Tasmanian Devil, and you got the Roadrunner, Porky Pig and Tweety. I mean, ERTL did release some Looney Tunes vehicles, but as no one's uploaded a video of the Looney Tunes trains, I thought I might have a go reviewing them. There we go. I managed to get them out of the packet. A bit more easier than the last one that I did. Now, first impressions on these ERTL Looney Tunes trains is I've got to say it's very, very, very nice, because I mean, unlike the ERTL Thomas engines, every single piece of locomotive and rolling stock is made of die-cast metal, apart from the couplings and the wheels, which are made of plastic. But with the Thomas and Friends range, it was mainly just the engines that were made of metal. Most of the rolling stock were just made of plastic entirely. But I've got some of the ERTL Thomas engines out just to see if they're compatible with the Looney Tunes train. So this is Bugs Bunny in the locomotive, as you can see. We've got a pin coupling at the back, spoked wheels, got cow catcher on there. But the only thing that's different is that the locomotive doesn't have a front coupling, unlike the locomotives in the ERTL Thomas and Friends range, and of course the caboose doesn't have a rear coupling, unlike many of the rolling stock in the Thomas and Friends range. So yeah, you've got I liked watching Looney Tunes when I was a kid as well, especially if Bugs Bunny was in it. He was my favourite character. So yeah, I don't understand why. I mean, these were sold separately as well as this being available as a free pack. As you can see, they do go round in a train as well. And strangest thing is, with the tended engines in the ERTL Thomas with the tended engines in the ERTL Thomas and Friends range, it had a fixed tender, but as this Looney Tunes train is, well, supposed to have a tender with the locomotive, it's quite surprising how they're actually separate. Which is rather strange, and even the locomotive and the coal car itself was sold separately as well, which is quite interesting. But yeah, but of course the characters itself are made from, I think, yeah, the characters itself are made from plastic, as is the wheels and the chassis. But the body shell itself is made from diecast metal, and I think there's so much diecast metal when they were made into these. And as you can see, you've got the Looney Tunes logo on there and the ERTL logo all moulded on there. The same with Foghorn Leghorn's coal car. Can't quite see this on the camera. And then there's the caboose, in which Tweety and Sylvester the cat are riding on. Yeah, Tweety's quite a cheeky bird, he is. I think Sylvester often comes after him quite a lot in some Looney Tunes episodes. And the eye couplings on the Looney Tunes train is actually more of a loop than an eye coupling, because it's not gapped, unlike the Thomas and Friends range. But it still has the pin couplings, but they do look a little bit thicker and possibly much shorter as well. But the funniest thing is, on the locomotive, there is actually a pin coupling on the back. So this might change the direction of the rolling stock on the Thomas engines. So I'm going to give this a try to see if it is compatible. And I think on Thomas, on this one, I don't think the pin couplings small enough to go into the eye couplings on Thomas. Let's try the coal car. Yeah, I think it's too big. I think they're too big to fit on the eye couplings of Thomas. I think with the new coupling system that was introduced to the Thomas and Friends range in 2002, the eye couplings on it were much bigger, so you can probably get the large pin couplings on the Looney Tunes trains onto them. But the only downside is, because they've got the U-hook, you wouldn't be able to put any Looney Tunes rolling stock onto the gaps on the U-hook. Well, you might be able to. I'll have to try and get some out in a minute. Now I've also got Peter Sam, because he's got bigger eye couplings. And does the pin coupling fit on? I think the pin coupling on this one's too short. However, let's have a look, see if this will fit. No, I think the couplings on the Looney Tunes trains are too high to be compatible with the ERTL Thomas engines, which is a bit sad, a bit disappointing. However though, oh, look at that. The rolling stock from the ERTL Thomas and Friends range does fit well with on the loop couplings on the Looney Tunes rolling stock. So that's a plus side to it. So overall, my first impressions of the ERTL Looney Tunes trains, I would say that they're fairly nice. They use loads of die-cast metal, and they're very well detailed. So I mean, they do feel slightly, I'd say they feel slightly heavyish because of, you know, due to the fact that they use so much die-cast metal. But the fact you got the fact that you got the characters on each piece of the train, it makes it a fairly nice toy to have in your collection of ERTL die-cast toys, or any die-cast vehicles that you collect. And I would give this a 10 out of 10. And before I go, I'm just going to see if these are compatible with the new coupling system on my ERTL Thomas engines that I've got in my collection before I finish this video. So I've got Bill and Ben out, and I'm going to see if the pin couplings fit better in the larger eye couplings, because I know that the eye couplings were modified when ERTL introduced a new coupling system to their Thomas and Friends range in 2002, and by the looks of it, it is compatible to a certain extent. I think that pin coupling is quite short, so that's probably why it's done that. Let's try and see well, the pin coupling on Bugs Bunny's locomotive is definitely longer. There we go. So yes, it is compatible with the ERTL Thomas and Friends range to a certain extent. It just depends how big the gap is in the eye coupling. Because, well, the space above the gap in the eye coupling. And I think, let's see if we can put it in the gap in the eye coupling. Does it work? Yeah, just like with the Thomas and Friends rolling stock, if you put pin couplings in a gap on the U-hook, it would raise the wheels. So yeah, it is compatible with the ERTL Thomas and Friends range to a certain extent, these ERTL Looney Tunes trains. I'm just going to show these, just give you a bit of a close-up. Oh, low memory again. Just going to show a close-up of the characters quickly before I end this video. And there's Foghorn Leghorn, Bugs Bunny as locomotive, and of course you got Tweety and Sylvester in the caboose. So I'm going to put these back together and couple these back together and then end this video. Well, I hope you've enjoyed my review video of the ERTL Looney Tunes trains, and I hope to see you all again soon. Bye for now.